What's up? What is up? I just saw that OBS is on a version of 32.2.2, which is pretty fun. Pretty fun. We like to have fun over here. Man, I am tired as fuck. I think it might be, might have to start making the live streams in the morning. Cause I could barely, which is like knee scraping by getting this one in today. Multitude of reasons, but I did enjoy a nice little dinner with a friend, and just eating so late just kind of zaps my energy, and it was just quite a bit of food, but it's okay. It was a lovely experience, and we still made it. I wonder if "made it" is a proper word if time doesn't exist, but of course it does, so I guess we made it. I am definitely not staying on very long tonight, because we have our our weekly call tomorrow morning, and there's stuff that I would like to get done before that happens. So I think today we're just going to finish this conversation with old Admiral Tim, the old Addy Tim, and then we'll go from there. I do want to do a couple of things with AI that I think will be helpful for the people in my community, and yeah, might. I don't think that. What do we got? Or we're not getting into that tonight, but we'll probably do that tomorrow morning. We'll probably jump on live tomorrow morning and do that, and then yeah, I'm just gonna play this.
There was even like a.
How about I do things? How about I do things? I'm here.
That Lockheed trying to exfiltrate their UFO so that Bigelow could have their eyes on it and look at it. Maybe that craft was held there, and so that was.
Where to go? Come on, there she is. All right, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Nope, bam. There we go.
Fascinating. Again, who
I used
knows?
to live by there.
Yeah,
That's very fascinating. I would like to know.
Yeah, same. And then of course you have. Do you know about this bluegill triple prime test?
Very, very much. Me, my wife and I helped Jeff Cruikshank write the report on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're familiar with this.
There's a whole section of he wrote this report, and there's a whole section where we examine deck logs of ships that we think were involved in some partial recovery of either that object or something related to it.
This is amazing. So the context for this is Harold Malmgren, who was this kind of elder statesman.
You interviewed him.
I interviewed him.
It was a great interview.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pippa is wonderful. I wish
she's amazing.
I wish I met him. It's an honor for you to.
It was a total honor, and I felt
it was an honor for you.
Anyways, unqualified, but just really as I do here. But it was just a great, beautiful interaction, kind of at the end of his life. He talked about actually holding the pieces from this crash, and that it came down, I guess, out of the plume of this nuclear blast in 1962 in October. You had this bluegill triple prime test.
He said, "Well, he reached for some stuff sitting on his desk. These are things that have come down." I'm looking at, sitting on his desk, round rock,
So you're looking at like anomalous material.
Yeah.
Debris.
Yeah.
And there were these Navy deck logs, and I believe there might have even been an outage on one of the ships. Like there was some radioactive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything shut down. Yeah, they lost power.
And then there's this SOPUS, special officer present afloat.
No, senior officer present afloat.
There you go. You would know. So General Starbird, I believe, was his name.
Admiral?
Admiral Starbird.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
there
Great
you
name.
go. You're helping me walk through this. And he flew, I believe, to the U.S. In seemingly this kind of like emergency fit.
Yeah.
At 4 a.m. that night.
Yeah.
So it seems like something dropped out. And then there's a guy who used the Freedom of Information Act to request all records of UAV, UAP, UFO, any acronym related to UFO from the Starfish Prime series. And they were like, yeah, we have responsive records, but we had to forward them to the special, to the subject matter expert who knows about this.
Really?
Yeah, the NNSA said this.
Oh, yeah.
So
who was that requested them?
It was an anonymous requester.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe you have to put, adjust your belief in that somewhat based on that. But, it seemed like a real request, and it seemed like he screenshotted the response. So, it seems like there's a tapestry of evidence that a UFO might have come out of this plume from Bluegill Triple Prime, and it's just amazing.
I'm again not 100%, but very highly likely. I'm convinced it did.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened is we went and looked at all the deck logs for Jeff because he, great guy by the way,
Great guy,
really
yeah.
diligent researcher, nice person too, and because we know how we could read a deck log and know exactly what's going on. And so, okay, the ship's doing this. This is what happened, and we were able to interpret for him what we think was going on.
Did you think that something anomalous was recovered
100%
from the deck log?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is fascinating, and I love that you're saying this because you have the authority to say it. And there are a bunch of other people who are weighing in, and they're like, it's the instrumentation pod or it's the booster or whatever.
Oh yeah, well there's that. There were those.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to line up. There's other elements of that recovery operation that are very anomalous, and then some.
Today, let's talk. Let's not talk. Woodson? Let's not talk.
In the deck log, that you could tell that they should have been cited and weren't because we know the history. He went and researched the history. Why didn't they put that in the deck log? There's a personnel transfer of divers from one ship to the other. Yeah,
this is fascinating.
So I let me draw back. I can't say 100% because I didn't see the object.
Sure,
but there was a highly unusual operation that occurred, and some of it was not recorded.
I think so too.
Yeah, because there's a section where they're when they do make this first recovery attempt, they're doing all these engine orders, and if I recall, I have to go look at the report again, but and they were laying out all this anchor line. Okay, that was the now I remember. They laid out all this anchor line where previously when they anchored, they only laid out a little bit because they were going to pull up the hook, as they call it, very soon after. So there's no need to set out a lot of anchor line if you're going to move the next day. But there's this portion where they laid out a ton of shot. That's the term that you say, because they were going to do something that was going to be really heavy lifting.
Spending time with Harold, that guy wasn't alive.
Yeah, well, there you go. No, he has nothing. He had nothing to gain at that point in his life.
Nothing to gain. Nothing to gain.
I'm glad, and it was so sweet of Pippa to be with him and have you. That was a great interview.
Thank you. Well, he was amazing, and he's just an incredible guy. How do we get back to the future when it comes to our oceans? Because I think about the 50s, 60s, 70s, and you had Sea Lab, and you had, and then you had this unfortunate death on Sea Lab, but you had this idea of aquanauts. Now we think of just astronauts.
We're getting there.
Are we getting there?
First off, there's a cool thing about Sea Lab.
Yeah.
I happen, and this is in my book too, I happen to be at Stennis Space Center. That's where my command was stationed. And that's the nature of NASA stations is you often have multi-uses. So you have some Navy units, maybe you have, there's actually a Navy SEAL unit there too. But, and so we were there, and they had some special event one day that I went to, and it involved some of the Mercury astronauts giving a small talk because they were on a road show to promote some NASA space-related education initiative. And so a big auditorium full of the three astronauts. It was Wally Schirra, Gordon Cooper, and Scott Carpenter. And heroes here. And I had a chance to hear them speak. And then the audience, of course, asked all the normal questions about space. A lot of high school kids there, and so what's it like to be an astronaut and zero gravity, and how do you go to the bathroom and all those things. Little kids do that. I got up and I asked Scott Carpenter. I said, because he'd been at Sea Lab, he was the only guy, one of the few people who'd been an astronaut and an aquanaut. And so I asked him how he compared the two. And he said, "Oh, going up in space is just glorious. You're shot on the end of a rocket. You get up there and everything's bright and beautiful, and you come back and after not very long, and it's just the most amazing experience of your lifetime." And then he paused and he said, "Well, but when you go in the ocean, things are really hard and they break and it's cold." So he had nothing good about it to say. He just it was a lot of challenges, and I don't know when the death occurred, but yeah, and I know this from my wife being a diver. The ocean is a very hard environment to operate in, and it's funny because I left that meeting going, how funny or ironic that remember Kennedy gave his big speech at Rice University.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yeah.
And here's Scott Carpenter telling me that operating in space is a cakewalk, but going in the ocean's another story, which I know to be true from Victor's expedition, because he actually got it all documented on a Discovery Channel series. And things break, and comms, you lose comms, and all this. So at any rate, though, technology is allowing us to move beyond that. And I actually have advised a new company called Deep. That's just their name. And they're building an ocean habitat. It's already deployed in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, which is like an underwater national park that NOAA manages. And so they just installed it. And their chief scientist is a wonderful woman named Dawn Kernegis, and I think she's already dived the habitat. So my goal is to go dive that habitat soon.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's there. There's another one. I gave a talk last year at EarthX, an environmental conference, and I did a fireside chat like we're doing here with a former NASA astronaut named Dr. Scott Parazynski. He's an MD, and he was the head spacewalker for NASA for a while. And he now is an advisor for a new company, and the name escapes me. I think it's Proteus, and it's one of the Cousteau sons founded it, and they're building ocean habitats too. So when you think about those and the fact that new technologies like autonomy, robotics are advancing so rapidly, and look at what Victor did. We're going to see more and more of this.
I'm so excited because we've mapped more of the moon and Mars than we have our own planet. Isn't that right?
Right, and that's another thread take us down about undersea UAP. That yes, we know not only more of the seabed, or pardon me, we've mapped the moon, the surfaces of moon and Mars to a higher resolution than our seabed. We've only mapped 27% of the seafloor to modern standards. That's so much territory, and it's 70% of the planet, and then we've only explored with drifters, floats, and drones about 10% and ROVs, 10% of the ocean volume.
So this could be an answer to the Fermi paradox.
Yeah, where is everybody? Exactly, they're in the oceans where they are.
Exactly,
and we know the UAP, whatever's controlling it, they're elusive. They are not just showing up and announcing themselves. And so that fact and the large territory of the ocean that we know nothing about really points in the direction that's probably where they are.
Yeah, fellow UAP White House advisor Kevin Knuth.
Yeah,
he has a great theory about.
Quick correction.
Yeah, go for it.
We're not reporting to the White House.
Okay.
We report to the ODNI.
Okay, got it.
Of course, the White House,
advisor.
As the White House does, the Department of War reports to the NSC, and then they're both, NSC is a White House body, ODNI supports the White House and reports to the White House. So we have that layer there.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Good correction. He talks about water worlds and basically planets that have water as being like the perfect kind of Goldilocks zone, because obviously you have phase transitions. You have solid, liquid, gas, plasma. And so if you can have a liquid form of water, it's like an indication that you're in some sort of Goldilocks zone.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have Mars is way too cold. You have Venus is way too hot, as an example. So we're this perfect sort of third planet distance away from the sun. And so if you have other water worlds, maybe that's where you'd have this Kardashev 4 scale civilization that is really advanced. And so maybe, if there is kind of an interstellar highway, the kind of connective thread as to where they camp out on different planets is they would camp out in water worlds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's of course, they're not so habitable, but the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, Enceladus and Europa,
Mm-hmm.
they're, I think, hypothesized to have ocean interiors with ice exteriors. Right?
Yes.
And so NASA's been working to build capabilities that actually funded some of our work to what the goal was to basically land on the surface and then punch a hole and send in a remotely operated vehicle.
Oh,
And so some of our NOAA ROV work, we have an exploration ship called the Okeanos Explorer. We I think NASA supported to advance that technology that they could eventually apply for missions to those moons.
that would be
Yeah.
amazing. That's
So
so cool.
what's cool about that is well, kind of related is that NASA astronauts all train in Houston
Mm-hmm.
in the one of the largest pools in the world.
Hmm.
It's called the Neutral Buoyancy Lab.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's so cool.
Wow.
So yeah, and so basically they all wear their space gear in this pool to simulate neutral buoyancy, gravity free. And so what's neat about that is now in my whole past government work, I've been working for companies, and the prime contractor for that that facility, the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, is a um is a company called Rothy,
Mm.
and they're going public, and they wanted me to come on their board, and so I got to go down there and check out that whole awesome setup, and they have a whole team of divers that support the astronauts. So sooner or later, they're gonna have a VIP diving day, and my wife and I are gonna go down and get on a scuba and go dive that tank with astronauts.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
Anyways,
You're gonna have a
all kind of
blast.
related stuff there.
Speaking of, maybe geothermal pockets that are habitable within ice, do you think that anything might be residing in Antarctica that we're not aware of?
Yeah, there's a lot about that possibility, and I think someone thought that Admiral Byrd had some encounter when he was down there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot
I
of
know
legends
nothing
around
of
that.
that. I have friends who worked in Antarctica. I have know of friends who previously had been ice divers down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another colleague who's a very accomplished underwater photographer named Becky Schott, and she does expeditions down there all the time and is a very accomplished diver, ice diver. So nobody I know who's been down there, and there are many, have seen anything. I've heard the reports, but
Yeah,
right now I don't have any data or
just
eyewitness
legends
accounts.
for now.
Yeah.
But your wife is a remote viewer, is that right? She
So
just finished this Paul Smith training?
Yes. Okay. This is a good line of inquiry, because like mainstream science, as we alluded to before, I don't know how it has been, but in mainstream science, uh, consciousness has not been treated as it should be, right? And the idea of all these aspects of consciousness, like out of body experiences, near death experiences, and the survival of human consciousness after death, right?
Mm-hmm.
After death. So and other related characteristics, phenomena like telepathy. And so, I just like UAP, stigmatized, that nothing there. It's not real. It's not scientific. Well, what we're seeing now is, whether it be the scientific study or like with the Division of Perceptual Studies at University of Virginia. Do you know that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Those people, those fine people, those scientists, or Diane Hennessy Powell and her work with autistic patients. How about that?
It's amazing.
Did you have her on her show?
Oh yeah, I've had her on.
See,
She's
she talks
amazing.
about the conversations these autistic kids have together
Yeah, they commune
telepathically.
on a hill.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
kind of
right.
almost like meeting station, but in like
Yeah.
some like mental etheric form or something. It's amazing.
Right. Yes. So that is all real, right?
Yeah.
It's documented. This is a real phenomena. And now it's taking it to the applied level,
Mm.
in this case of remote viewing. First off, Hal Puthoff is a good friend and colleague of mine, and he's shared extensively about his experience with the Stargate program.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the Stargate programs, I believe, founders was Paul Smith. or at least he was the Army guy, and now he's taken that further. He's written a manual on remote viewing, and it's all about. Have you ever remote viewed?
No, I've
Okay,
never remote viewed.
you learn a protocol like so many I guess just experiences or methods. There's a way to basically like tap into that that knowledge which is out there. All knowledge is.
So you just dropped some major not knowledge bombs, but like a lot of great branches. One was Admiral Byrd, who was a admiral. He was an American naval officer and pioneering aviator, polar explorer, and organizer of the polar logistics aircraft flights, in which he served as a navigator and expedition leader across Antarctic, the Atlantic Ocean. And the reason why this guy's a big deal is that he has a story where he flew into Antarctica with his platoon squad or whatever, and he got separated at a certain point, and then he flew. He has a crazy story where he flew into the Earth, and he met these beings that were living in the Earth. And the only reason why we know about this story is because he is really good at documenting. Like back then, he had to document every single thing that he did in the plane with a note. So he was really good at taking notes. And his son uh, gave gave once he died, his son released the notes that he wrote down. And see if we can find a good one here. Antarctic. All right, we might have to find this one later. Nope. Yeah, there was like a crystal city that was underground. Operation High Jump. So, geez, Operation High Jump. That's right, he was a part of that. Operation High Jump was they chased the or followed the Nazis to Antarctica, and he took a whole platoon with him. Let's see. I do not want to butcher this. He basically, okay, the TLDR is that he took a bunch of people, like this many people, to Antarctica to find Nazis. They ended up getting into a big dogfight, and only a couple of ships came back. And when they came back, they said that the Nazis had these spaceships that were shooting lasers and stuff, uh, defending the Antarctica. So they got even a bigger crew together to go back down. Um, is that right? No, I think that was it. Like they got a big crew together to go back down, to go down look for Nazis, and then they when they returned, they said that the Nazis had spaceships. They didn't have any propulsion. They were moving and flying like saucers, and they were attacking with lasers. And then I wonder, there's got to be someone who has a good. Ooh. Uh, what's this guy talking about? Ba ba ba. He's talking gibberish. Although we could be interesting, although what could be interesting is the fact that the Operation High Jump was taking place in the first half of the 1947, and the modern UFO wave started in the mid 1947s with the Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting, June 24th, 1947. So who knows? Maybe they really dig something that shouldn't have been bothered. Maybe they really dug up something that shouldn't have been bothered. I agree. As it's an interesting timeline. Doesn't Roswell happen in 1947 as well? Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, when does Roswell happen? Uh, if Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting happened in June 24th, 1947. 1947. Debris found by the rancher in 1947 near Roswell, New Mexico, has become the basis of the UFO conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. You can arrest this, fuckers. Um, the UFO history allegedly, let's go skip allegedly, that the U.S. military recovered a crashed extraterrestrial spaceship after metallic and rubber debris was recovered by Roswell Army airfield personnel. Um, what does it have the date? Date June 4th to July 10th, 1947. Now, what is. Now, I'm not too familiar with Kenneth Arnold. Between June 4th and July. Between June 24th. Oh, this is interesting. I don't think. I mean, I've heard of all of these things, but I don't think I ever put them together. So yeah, Kenneth Arnold. So Kenneth Arnold, I believe, was said that it was one of the first documented cases of someone depicting a UFO. I've actually never heard of the Kenneth Arnold story, so let's dive in. On June 24th, 1947, private pilot Kenneth Arnold saw what he described as a string of 9 shiny, unidentified flying objects flying past Mount Rainier at speeds that he estimated to be at least 1,200 miles per hour. This was the first post World War II sighting in the United States that garnered nationwide news coverage and is credited with being the first of the modern era of UFO sightings, including numerous reported sightings over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Arnold's description of the objects also led to the press quickly coining the term flying saucers and flying disc as a popular depictive term for UFOs. The sighting flying from Washington. Oh, what are those? On a business trip, he made a brief detour after learning of a $5,000 reward, equivalent to $72,000 today, for the discovery of a U.S. Marine Corps C-46 transport airplane that had crashed near Mount Rainier. The skies were completely clear, and there was a mild wind. I'm not reading all this, but that is interesting. Or do a deeper dive, or just do a video on it. But I'm curious that this happened. So Kenneth Arnold, that's what I wanted. Kenneth Albert Arnold. He died 4 years before I was born. Known best for reporting what is generally considered the first widely popularized Mount Rainier in Washington. Mount Rainier in Washington State. June 24th, 1947. Roswell incident happened in New Mexico between June 4th and July 10th. Why is this off? July 8th. July 8th. What's with the date, guys? June 24th, July 28th. Admiral Byrd was when? Operation High Jump. Admiral Byrd. Okay. Operation High Jump began in August 1946. Hey, it's our anniversary. For the 46-47 summer, remember that the seasons are reversed in the southern hemisphere, so December is summer and at the South Pole. I always found it unusual that the U.S. mobilized such a huge task force, literally the very never summer after the war. I speculate that they were told that there was something interesting down there by either Operation Paperclip scientists or the what is this? Operation Paperclip is when the Nazi rocket scientists were captured or they surrendered, and the U.S. government put them into the NASA space program, which is why we have rockets, is due to the Nazis. The more you know. Flag officers of the Kriegsmarine Marina. Irrelevant. What are we looking for? Governments began looking into the alleged UFO crash in the 1930s, and many pilots saw Foo Fighters in the early to mid 1940s. Roswell, Arnold, Murray Island was not the beginning by a long shot, and I think it's a mistake to embrace that narrative. Fuck you. Embrace whatever I want. I'm not saying that it was the beginning. I'm saying like that was the most well known. So did they stir the pot? Yeah, it was happening all the time. Technically, it was happening in ancient Egypt and freaking uh, the other places. It's been happening since before we had or standing upright. Like, come on. But like the most documented cases where we can look back to and be like, yeah, it happened on that date, and there are several witnesses that could testify, or like at least just legitimate people or people who are not prone to lying. Hopefully, he is a businessman. He's not a businessman. He's a businessman. I'm curious what this thread is talking about. That's correct, but 1947 and 1948 is by some considered the beginning of modern ufology, because after those years began a wave of very frequent events and sightings, and many sightings by citizens too, and that lasted through the 50s. And also because many of the government projects started in those years, Project Grudge and Project Blue Book. What is Grudge? I don't think I've heard this one before. Project Grudge. Project Grudge was a short lived project by the U.S. Air Force to investigate unidentified flying objects. Grudge succeeded Project Sign in February 1949 and formally ended in December 1949. It was followed by Project Blue Book. It didn't end. It just turned into Project Blue Book. And I'm pretty sure Project Blue Book just turned into something else. Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book was the code name for a systematic study of unidentified flying objects by the United States Air Force from March 1952 to its termination on December 17, 1969. The project the project the project headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. That's where they were just talking about. The place where if you were going to transfer a spaceship or a giant red-headed giant from Kandahar, which is where they took the red-headed giant from Kandahar, they took him to Wright-Patterson's Air Force Base. They probably got all kinds of secrets over there. That's a lot. It's a lot of words. Project Blue Book 2019 is the inspiration for the drama series Project Blue Book, which began airing on the History Channel. Ooh, dapper. Well, that might be good. I wonder if that's good. Galactica. Every episode of the original Battlestar Galactica spin-off series, Galactica 1980, ended with a short statement about the U.S. Air Force 1969 Project Blue Book findings that the UFOs are not proven to exist and are not a threat to national security. I knew this is the only one I have not seen yet. I've seen Star Wars, every episode of Star Wars. Star Wars is actually pulling out of my awareness because all the shorts and cartoons and stuff. I just don't have time to watch them all. But I've seen every Star Trek and every spin-off of Star Trek. But Battlestar Galactica is one I have not seen, and I was told to watch it several times. Probably the same as Skinwalker Ranch. I should watch that one too. Twin Peaks? I don't think so. Sucker. Yeah. So Project Blue Book, Grudge is the same thing. I was hoping you would have an inside scoop from someone in your family. Have you talked to older relatives or asked for any of your grandfather's possessions your mom might have? Man, I wish I had some insider goodies outside of just family drama and the likes, nothing about UFOs. That side of my family has been always super spiritual. My grandmother, for sure, had a spiritual side and good sense of humor. Fun fact, she called Eleanor Roosevelt ugly one time, so there's that. Also, his son, her brother, I don't think was mentally well. What are your thoughts on the diary? And then he just disappeared. Hey, interest in aviation as a kid was... I don't think we need to get into more of this. AJ and the Y-Files are the most underrated YouTube channel anywhere. Just watch the Y-Files on on my great grandfather. Great video. I'm going to really check out more of his stuff. However, with recent UFO talks in Congress, this was 2000. This was like 4 years ago. I wonder if his attitude has changed. This is a long thread. Damn. All right, let's get back to this. Operation High Jump. Oh, the other thing that they were talking about was the Stargate program, which is a remote viewing program started by the DIA. The Stargate Project was a secret United States Army unit established in 1977 at Fort Meade, Maryland. I used to live there. Intelligence agencies and Stanford Research Institute investigate the potential for psychic phenomena in military and domestic intelligence applications. The project and its prosecutors and sister projects originally went by various code names, including uh, Gondola Wish, Grill Flame, Center Lane, under INCOM, Sunstreak, and Stargate. Under the United States Army Foreign Intelligence Command in 1993, Stargate, and under the CIA and Project CF until 1991, when they were consolidated and collectively renamed the Stargate Project. So they were still going in 1991. The Stargate Project's work primarily involved remote viewing, primarily, keyword, and um, per, purport abilities to psychically see events, sites, or information from a great distance. The project was overseen until 1987 by Lieutenant Frederick Holmes Skip Atwater, born 1947. Is Atwater still alive? I don't think so. An aide and a psychic headhunter to Major General Albert, and later president of the. Oh, he was a president. That's right. And later president of the Monroe Institute. The project was overseen by Frederick. Oh, that's great. Go check that out. Okay. The project was terminated and declassified in 1995 after a commissioned review by the CIA concluded that it was never useful in any intelligence operation, although significantly statistically significant effects were observed in laboratory experiments. The reviewers were uncertain whether this was the result of errors, and the information provided by the program was vague and included irrelevant and erroneous data. The program was featured in the 2004 book and 2009 film, The Men Who Stare at Goats. It's a good movie, George Clooney, although never mentions it by name. So it was made by, but they never called it Stargate program. But they did stare at goats. See if they could stop their hearts. How put off? What are you doing? In 1970, CIA and DIA granted funds to Howard E. Putoff to investigate paranormal abilities, collaborating with Russell Targ in a study to the psychic abilities of Uri Geller. We were talking about that a couple of days ago. Ingo Swan, Pat Prince, and Joseph McConkley. God damn it. And others as a part of the Stargate project, which Putoff became the director. I mean, why are you doing my boy like this? There's tons of pictures of how Putoff. Why? Why? Why are you doing that? Okay. Oh man, CIA, you are crazy.
Somehow interconnected. And so Karen has taken one basic course, and then she just finished the advanced course. She actually went to his place in Cedar City, Utah, and did. She's really good, by the way. And so what happens is they'll give you the facilitator gives you a target, basically a set of pictures with a grid coordinate of somewhere, a facility, a natural formation, whatever. And then so he's got this target in mind, and then I guess what all he does is reveal to the viewer the coordinates of it. And this is a protocol that started out at Stargate, and they did it, kind of worked it over time with really talented remote viewers like Ingo Swann.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Joe McMoneagle, one of your guests.
Oh
yes.
yeah, I love him.
Oh, he's brilliant. And
Legend.
and so Karen,
If you're running your own business,
and it works. It's really remarkable because and you go through a set of things where you sort of basically clear your mind, and then sometimes now your mind is always, when you're getting a perception, and this is perception of something, your mind will automatically want to make sense of it. Okay, if you're seeing, for example, like a wooden tone or something, you're gonna go, okay, you're gonna build a table right there in your mind. You do that. You make a mental model, and they're in the protocol. You learn to recognize when your mind's doing that, and you shut it off. Okay, and they call it analytical overlay. You know about it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And so Karen's, I won't say she's mastered this, but she's done this for 2 years now, and she's really good.
Wow.
He has nailed these targets he's gotten to her, where she'll just start drawing it out. She'll start naming all the kind of associations she's getting, whether the shape, the color, the texture. She'll start with words, and then she'll start drawing the aspects of it. And I even participated in an experiment, and there are instances where I got the target spot on. And so I even toyed with it. I was part of their little experiment within the group. And so she's gotten them right on the money. And these aren't things you can make up. It'd be one of her targets was this really cool geological formation in a national park, and she drew them just to a T.
Wow.
It wasn't Disneyland. It wasn't the space station. It was that, and she drew exactly that.
That's incredible.
She's done it multiple times. Yeah.
Wow.
So and this is the whole thing, consciousness studies. I hope, as UAP may be becoming, that more of our, and especially this, because more of our society that accepts this nature of humanity, the truth, the real nature of humanity, there's so much we can do with that. Human potential is so held back by our not accepting the full possibilities of our consciousness and human connection.
Yeah.
Like all the UFO infighting.
Yeah.
Once you really get to understand the nature of your mind and and connecting with other minds, maybe all that'll stop.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, that's on the line, right? It's like the nature of consciousness and the nature of reality and truth about metaphysics and stuff. And
It is a great book.
What's a great book?
Have you read Dan Brown's Secret of Secrets?
Brandon Fugel he was just on the show and he just brought that up.
If you care about this topic,
Yeah.
read it. He has mastered the story. It's a great storyline too, by the way.
Yeah.
But he goes into all of this.
Wow.
You will be, if you're on the fence about this nature of consciousness, I would think you will be a firm. You won't believe. You will know when you finish reading this book.
I can't wait to read it.
Oh gosh, it's good. Yeah,
that's amazing. I would love to interview him. I think he lives in New Hampshire or somewhere
really?
in the Northeast. Yeah, just an amazing. I mean, I've read Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code and stuff. He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's really incredible. Do you ever use remote viewing like daily life or like decision making or anything?
Well,
like that?
no, because again, you have to be disciplined about the protocol. It's just there's an aspect of how your mind works. It's very hard to filter out. And so, and I've just not practiced it enough. However, though, intuition. So we're very related. Okay, when you also at the beginning we all talked about intention. You
Yes.
did, and I think that's a really important part of this conversation. That when your intention's good and positive, I think uh, then I think your mind, for some reason, is it's more accessible. Your consciousness is expanded in a way when you have good intention.
I think so too.
I
I think that's the secret of all of this whole topic is it unlocks for you when you have really pure intentions. And when you're seeking truth and you don't have ulterior motives,
Yeah,
I think good things happen.
they
And
do, and my life is an example of that. And I actually, again, my book, there's a lot of stories I have in this about it's better to be lucky than good.
oh, I love that. Yeah.
But it's really about having pure positive intention. Whenever I've had that, good things happen, great things happen. It was about my going to the Naval Academy,
Hmm.
really quickly. So there's a whole story in there. I shouldn't have gone in,
Mm.
but I wanted to study the ocean and I wanted to serve my country. And what happened? You like stories, so
Love
you're a
stories.
storyteller.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do this from an early age, and I kind of misguided, but I also wanted to get a PhD from Scripps, and I learned that the Naval Academy had one scholarship to Scripps, and I thought, okay, I want to study the ocean. It's got a pathway to Scripps Institution of Oceanography in La Jolla, California, with Woods Hole, the top two oceanographic schools in the country, the world. So I wanted that, and I go to the academy. I show up on the very first day and they take all the physical tests you took before to get in. And so I retake them, and I get to this color vision test. Have you ever taken a color vision test?
I don't think I have.
So in the Navy, you get tested for everything, and so the color vision test is called the Ishihara test, named after a certain I guess doctor and physician, and this test consists of uh, a circular grouping of basically dots, colored dots. And the dots are in different colors and they all make out a number
Mhm.
10, 12, 7, 8. But you can always see the orange 8 in the green or red's background, right? Okay, so and this is to test you for a very common genetic uh, trait of color defectiveness in men.
Mm.
Some women, but mostly men have it. And there are a lot of people in the population have it. I don't know the number, but it's not small. And so, but unfortunately, that disqualifies you from naval service because in naval service, you need to be able to see green and red very clearly because those are the lights, navigation lights on ships. So when you go to or aircraft, and so if you can't understand the lights on a ship, you're not going to know the configuration. You could potentially have problems navigating. It's really a strict requirement. I go take that test on my first day at the academy, July 2nd, 1985, and I failed that test. And the corpsman administering it said, and we're all getting back to pure intention, okay? He said, "Whoa, how'd you even get accepted here? Go to the side. We're going to report you. You're going to be gone." And oh my gosh. So I tell my dad and the swim coach who recruited me, "Oh no." And they run around and go off and ultimately I take a weight and what happens behind the scenes is I was the fastest 500 freestyler in the country in prep schools in that year.
Wow.
So I was recruited heavily, and the coach found out, and he reported it to the athletic director,
Mm.
and they decided to give me something they'd never done before, a waiver letter that I signed acknowledging that I couldn't go to the traditional line officer specialties, surface, aircraft pilot, submarine, that I could only, when I graduate, do restricted work that involved either intelligence, medical, or oceanography. So it's what I wanted, and it was actually given to me, even though I shouldn't even gotten in.
Wow.
So, and they accept me, and I go in, and here I am. I should never even gone,
Wow.
and I did, and I followed the exact path I wanted to follow. So, and this is not even the only time in my book where I talk about this, where I had good intention, and I should never have gotten it,
Yeah.
but somehow I think that was it. Is I wanted a good path, and the universe opened it up for me.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. What's the most precarious situation you've ever been in the Navy?
Okay, good. So there's the Navy, no doubt, and I tell this story too. I was on an aircraft carrier, and my job was the officer of the deck. So I was in charge. I was a ship's oceanographer, but I had a division of aerographers mates that predicted weather, and I didn't really need to step in that much. So I became a deck watch officer. So I was in charge of the ship for 2 4-hour stretches a day, directing all movements, right, left, ahead, slow down, launch aircraft, recover aircraft, don't launch aircraft, don't recover aircraft, giving all the orders for this aircraft carrier in 2 combat operations. Enduring Freedom, when we first flew strikes into Afghanistan, I came at the tail end of that, and then we did all the strikes into Iraq in 2003 during Iraqi Freedom. So big, high stress job. And at one point, we were going to the Persian Gulf for Iraqi Freedom. We're going through the Strait of Malacca, and when you do that, I'm driving the aircraft carrier. You're 100 feet off the water line. You're way up there, we narrow waterway. Because the USS Cole had been bombed a few years before, we were really wary of any terrorist attacks. So we launched our helicopters. That was the protocol, with 50 cal machine guns, and they were basically patrolling for any small boats that would try to attack us. And so we're driving. I have a destroyer who's about 1,000 yards on my port bow ahead of me to the port, and she was the USS Curtis Wilbur, and so we have a strike group commander embarked, and he gives all the orders to the strike group. So I'm driving the ship, the aircraft carrier, the Kitty Hawk, and they give the order for the Curtis Wilbur. So we launched the helicopters to watch out for terrorists, and because we launched helicopters, when there's any aircraft in the air, we need to have what they call a plane guard, a ship to go behind us in case someone crashes and they can recover the pilot. So they give the order, Curtis Wilbur, go take plane guard off the Kitty Hawk's stern, at such and such a distance. And what normally should have happened is, I'm driving, she's ahead of me, and she should have just peeled off to port. It would have been an easy day, and she would just slow down and take station behind me. She ended up turning to starboard, and she was so close, and it happened so quickly that as she turned to starboard, the flight deck ahead of me, there's basically an 800-foot shadow zone of seawater that I can't see.
Oh.
And her bow basically disappeared, right? Like in that shadow zone. That's how close she was. I'm going 12 knots or so, and immediately, of course, I do everything I'm supposed to do. I yell out, right hard rudder, all engines ahead flank, to just make me do that. Sound the collision alarm, and announce brace for shock, and then this happens when people get in these situations. Time just totally slowed down for me. And I remember having all these thoughts. I thought, oh my God, we are going to cut that ship in half, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that would have, it likely would have sunk. We would have had at least 200 people killed, probably more. All sailors dying very horrible deaths. I mean, fires, sinking. It was just the worst image I've ever seen in my life, and mentally. And then I thought, oh my God, we're going to get hit, and we're going to probably end up having some water come in and damage control necessary, where we call general quarters, and I'd call general quarters, and then fires would break out. My sailors might be fighting those fires, actually, and some of our sailors might get killed. All these things flooded my mind before, that in that 1 second. And thank God, the ship did the right thing at the right time and shifted a rudder, and she just barely avoided us. Of course, the captain's on the phone with the admiral, and every big swirl of activity there afterwards. But that was the most precarious thing.
Wow.
And there was really nothing I could do. It was just because we were in that close quarters maneuvering in a strait. But
That's intense.
Also, all I can tell you is I have been blessed. In this book, I talk about these times where challenging situations, again, working for Trump, and it worked out. We achieved good. Thankfully, the alternative didn't occur, and I just feel like I've had this very gifted life, and that's why I wanted to tell my story.
That's beautiful. Well, don't ask questions. Keep riding the wave.
Oh yeah. Well, and actually, you're right about that, because as we talked about, there's some exciting possibilities ahead for us, for humanity, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to contribute to that.
Yeah, well, I think you are contributing to it, and everybody go buy the book, Holding Fast in the Heavy Seas, and I'm just really honored
Oh,
to
by the
have you.
way,
Yeah.
Victor wrote an endorsement.
Oh, did he?
I
Oh,
I,
cool.
I got to tell you, I'm blessed. I have some great endorsements. Victor wrote one.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite ocean authors. So as we talk about the oceans and UAP, if anybody, any of your listeners, viewers like the ocean, they should read any of the books by the top line endorser, Susan Casey.
Mm.
She's this really brilliant writer, New York Times bestseller multiple times. Has a latest book about undersea exploration called The Underworld. She's written a book about waves called The Wave. She goes and rides a jet ski with Laird Hamilton into the lineup at Peahi, Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some good.
Wow.
That's a great book,
Eh.
and she has a book about dolphins called Voices in the Ocean, and another really cool book. I talked about NOAA having national marine sanctuaries or underwater national parks.
Mm.
She wrote a book about the sanctuary in the Farallon Islands off of San Francisco, and all their history about the great white shark population that lives there.
Wow.
It's
Well,
called
she sounds amazing.
It's called Devil's Teeth.
Devil's Teeth.
And she always goes in the field for all of her work. So you know what? Oh, by the way, so her book about exploration of the ocean called The Underworld, she goes and dives the Marianas Trench with Victor.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
shout out to Susan Casey.
Susan Casey is
a legend.
She is. She's brilliant.
Wow.
Getting that endorsement is just such an honor for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a final question?
Yeah.
If you were an alien civilization, where would you hide out under the ocean? What principles
Hey,
would you
I don't
use?
have to be an alien to want to be in the ocean.
Fair enough.
I told you that was my whole career.
Yeah. No, you're already into it.
Well,
But
in fact, that's it. I'm so lucky now. Me and my wife dive the world because I'm not in the government anymore and we have time.
Wow.
So we just finished diving the Blue Hole in Belize.
Oh, cool.
Which is this really cool feature. We did it with our daughters, and we also did
The hardest part of learning to code isn't syntax, it's decision paralysis. Stop wasting time.
Iron Bottom Sound off Guadalcanal. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Naval history. Okay. So in 1942, this was a real precarious, to use that word again, time in World War II when it was the first time after Midway, the Battle of Midway, that we went on the offensive. And we decided to take a Japanese airfield in the Solomon Islands. And it was on this island called Guadalcanal. It was this obscure area, but it was kind of that point where we in Japan met halfway. They were advancing, we were going on the offensive, and it was the place to take hold of an airfield. And then from there, we launched the island hopping campaign that assured us victory. So in 1942, there was this place where there was almost a year of continuous naval action, ships sinking ships. And there's so many shipwrecks in this little area off of Guadalcanal. They call it Iron Bottom Sound.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my wife and I went and dived there.
Oh, wow.
On some of the wrecks there. That was phenomenal.
That's incredible.
I'm not sure what's next. Oh, I know. We're going to Bermuda.
Oh,
so
wow.
Bermuda Triangle. We're going to dive the Bermuda Triangle.
Do you think there's something to the Bermuda Triangle legends of electromagnetic anomalies and flights going missing and that sort of thing?
There's data. There's evidence of anomalies.
Yeah.
So let's tie this all together now.
Yeah.
Undersea bases, possibly, right? We know 5 to 7 locations.
Yes.
We have anomalies like at the ranch. Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm gonna be sailing through it with my family on a cruise ship.
That's amazing.
And then we're gonna dive off Bermuda, scuba dives. I'll let you know what we find.
Oh, you're gonna have a blast. Well, keep with the proper intentions and
Amen.
Yeah. And wow, that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just been an honor. I really appreciate it, Admiral. This has been a long time coming for me. I've followed your work for many years now in the UAP topic, but obviously you have this illustrious career, behind that where you're adding your credentials to this kind of frontier, and I'm just really grateful for you coming.
Hey, I am grateful to be here, Jesse, and I'm honored and delighted to be a fellow seeker of truth with you.
Oh, there you go. Head to American Alchemy merch.
Oh, man. Wow. Wow.